You spent the last few days speaking with allies here in Europe, but we haven't heard those allies specifically make public statements defending Canada's sovereignty. Where are these allies? Why aren't they standing up for Canada?
I think allies understand, having seen it on TV, seeing even across, I have many people talking about how patriotic Canadians have become, how strong and forceful Canadians are at waving the flag these past days. People have been noting and actually impressed by how Canadians have all come together in a very strong way. And I can sort of say, as I said, Canadians don't need anyone else telling us that we have a great country, because we know that, and other countries are also taking note.
Can NATO survive Trump, given that he's threatened the sovereignty of Greenland and Canada?
I'm sorry, Olivia, I'm getting a flashback right now, because that was a question we answered, got asked and answered many times over the first Donald Trump mandate, where there were questions about whether Article 5 would be respected, whether NATO had a future. And here we are all these years later, continuing to commit to mutual defense, continue to invest significantly more in defense than we were 8 years ago. Yes, Donald Trump has had, along with the impact of shifting geopolitics, a spurring effect on just about all countries to do more on defense, to recognize that we are in a more challenging and unstable world. But that's exactly where the value of military alliances like NATO being the most successful military alliance in history, is all the more visible and all the more important in a world like this.
But don't these sovereignty threats go against what NATO stands for? Isn't this new?
Donald Trump has always been someone who has challenged ways of doing things or various conventions around what gets negotiated or what gets said about one country or another. I think we need to focus on the core of the issue, which is we need to be able to be there to defend our sovereignty, defend our democracies, and support our partners. That's what we're all committed to.
You met with the NATO Secretary General today. What conversations did you have about the kinds of investments that would qualify towards Canada's defense spending? And would you or NATO consider Canada's investments in critical minerals as eligible?
The NATO framework for evaluating defense spending as a portion of GDP is very well established. There are reams of documents that lay out what can be counted and what can't be. We've been working closely with NATO and other allies to make sure that count is correct. But rather than focusing on, where the numbers are or where the exact percentages are, what's important is that we be investing significantly in the kinds of things that are going to keep Canadians and all our NATO partners more safe. The capacities that are important. Investing in infrastructure in the Arctic. Investing in being there to protect NATO's eastern flank with Latvia. Investing to strengthen our NORAD defenses. Investing in new submarines, in 88 new fighter jets, in more icebreakers, and signing the Ice Pact. It is the capacities and the abilities of Canadian servicemen and women and the equipment they rely on that is most important. So yes, we're going to continue to make sure that the investments get recognized by NATO, but we're going to stay focused on doing the things that actually matter for Canadians to not only protect our own sovereignty, but continue to be a strong and staunch ally in protecting our values and the sovereignty of partners around the world.
And you told a room of Canadian leaders last week that Donald Trump is not bluffing about Canada becoming a U.S. state, partially because he wants access to Canada's critical minerals. So what is Canada actually doing to protect its sovereignty in the face of these threats? And would you consider ending critical minerals agreements with the United States?
I think the fundamental principle is that Canada is a reliable, trustworthy source of energy, of critical minerals, of inputs and ingredients into their manufacturing processes, into their prosperity that Americans can rely on. That any thickening of the border, any tariffs that get put on Canadian imports will hurt American manufacturing, will hurt American consumers, and we don't want that. We want to continue to work together. So we're going to continue to highlight that it is much better for us to work together, but if we're going to continually be facing threats of tariffs, or if we get actual tariffs, we will respond appropriately and strongly, stand up for Canadian jobs, stand up for Canadian workers, and pull Canadians together as we demonstrate that we want to be there as a partner, but we will be there as a sovereign country.